Yo, how we doing? How's the week been for you so far? So we're going to talk about planning today. I think planning is one of the most underused skills that we have as human beings to achieve the things that we want to achieve, to give ourselves an awful amount of control and order, to help us manage and master our emotions at a much higher level. But yet, we're too busy to plan. So let's get into it. I'm going to give you some considerations and some thoughts and some ideas about planning, thoughts behind it, why we do it, how you do it. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I'm your host, James Boardman. If you are coming through, then please do let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you're really good at planning. Let me know if you plan but never actually complete your plans. Let me know if you've never planned before. And please share it with someone that might benefit from it. So obviously apologies about Monday. I was just so focused on my run. It got to 6 o'clock and I realised that I completely lost track of time. And I didn't really want to stop my run. So we're here. We're still showing up. I think one of the most fundamental components of my own escalation from being in the gutter, sitting in the mud, in terms of the life that I lived when I left the military. Like when I left for those first 3 years, I was pretty much in a doghouse in terms of not knowing where I was going, what I was doing. And obviously that all led to an emotional overwhelm or an emotional tsunami, which left me out to dry basically. And I kind of think about my life in the military. And there was always some form of clarity in terms of where I was going, right? And that was that become the byproduct of planning. Career planning, future planning, family planning. Kind of knew where everything was going. And I kind of feel like it's the same thing for many guys that I see today. They're at that state when I left the military. So when I left the military, everything was unsure. So career planning, although I was teaching in a college at the time, I didn't really understand where I was going to go because I knew what I was doing is not what I wanted to do. I was quite a selfish guy back then, so obviously, you know, I come back to be with my family and I messed that up completely as well. And then in terms of my future, I was just like, there were no plans. There was just nothing there. So it kind of contributed to the low emotions, impulsive emotions, drinking, to hide the fact that I had no plans. And that was going nowhere. And I think a lot of guys do that as well. And I think that creating plans, following through on plans, doing what you said you were going to do, is one of the key fundamentals, I think, for any man or woman to feel like they're in control of their time and their energy. So if we look at plans are a combination of focuses that you want to achieve. Okay. So if you think about things that you focus on that will give you an outcome, that will make you feel better, make you feel successful, make you feel content, make you feel like you've achieved, right? So these are things about plans. They're micro element focuses, all built up in this little bag with a deadline on. And that's the key thing, right? Is understanding that, number one, the plans are what you want to do. So all of those focuses, you have to want to do those focuses. You have to want to do them. There has to be an emotional connection. You have to understand the reasons why. Because if you don't have that behind a focus, what you have is something you've written down because you feel guilty, because you don't have anything to focus on, so you just write something down. And the problem with that is that you don't connect with that. You don't follow through with that. And when you wake up and when you don't feel like showing up, there's a disconnect between those things that you wrote down on your focus, which become your plans, and what you said you were going to do. So if you look at your plans as lots of focuses that are going to have a deadline, so that you know when you're going to achieve these by, that are going to give you something back in terms of an outcome, okay? And that outcome is going to make you feel happier, content, or full of achievement, so to speak. This is where I think a lot of people go wrong, is that they try to plan too much. They plan too much. So there are too many focuses all at once, right? So if I had my little whiteboard here, if I had like 20 crosses, like little crosses that go across here, and we always talk about this formula, time, energy, and focus. It's like an equation, right? If you've got all of these focuses going on, all of these plans, there's a multitude of plans. Your time and your energy, you have to give a little bit to every single one of those crosses, which means that you are spread thin. That causes overwhelm, stress, frustration, so much so that you just turn around and go, nah, I can't be bothered with this. I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to do what I said I was going to do. And that's because there's too much going on. Whereas then if we wrote or had on that whiteboard, instead of 20 crosses, just 3, 1, 2, 3, bang. 3 key focuses, 3 key plans with outcomes that you connected with, that give you outcomes, that made you feel achievable. Your time and energy is only spread between those 3 crosses rather than 20. So all of a sudden, what we have is more time, more energy to put into those plans. And when you have more time and more energy to put into those plans are often followed through. And you actually end up achieving those plans. So for example, let's say this quarter, in the second quarter, we're going into the last month, okay, of this quarter. And let's say that your 3 plans were, plan number 1 was to just get fit, okay, just get fit. Number 2 was to spend more time with the family. And number 3 was to improve your phone management. That's those 3 main plans for a 12-week period. Now to you, they might not be like, well, they're not exciting. They're not going to get me to where they're going to be. But they are, because getting fit gives you focus, and then you're going to plan in your diary 4 30-minute workouts a week. Bang, you're in your diary, because it becomes priority. Then you're going to have a cut-off time where you go, right, I want to spend more time with the family. So at 5 o'clock, I'm going to switch my phone off. I'm going to be solely present with the family until the kids go to bed. And then I've got my time with my wife. Bang, that's all you're going to do for 3 months. That's the plan. This is the plan. This is the plan. Mobile phone management. I'm not going to go on social media. I'm going to give myself 15 minutes social media every single day. And then you just go, right, I'm just going to focus on those 15 minutes. Boom, boom. Those are the 3 things that you focus on. That's where you put your time and energy in terms of your growth, okay, in terms of the plans that you put into place. Then your weekly plans, your daily and weekly plans, become the byproduct of where you're putting your time and energy. Because now we have accountability where we're going to put that time and that energy. But if you have those 3 things this quarter, and then you add on top of that, I want to try and get promoted, I want to try and build a side hustle, I want to try and do a half marathon. I want to try and sort my calories out. I want to try and eat more protein. Like all of a sudden that list becomes more and more and more and more. And you have less time for the things that you need to focus on. But if you want, photobomber, if you focus on those 3 things over a 12-week period, and then on the 3rd quarter, you go all in on the next 3 things, and then on the next quarter, you go all on the next 3 things. In a year, in theory, you could plan out 9 things that are going to change your life. If you just focus on 3 a month. Now, those 9 things that you planned to achieve and focus and work on over a year period could be life-changing. Because you put your time and energy into these things, they would become non-negotiable. And over that period of time, you would have changed your behaviours, your patterns, your routines, your structures, your belief systems, whatever it might be. You would have improved your marriages, your relationships, your phone management, your health, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your fitness levels, your energy, your sex life, man. And then all of a sudden there are all of these things. Instead of just trying to plan to do tens and tens of hundreds of things, just focus on little, on fewer things. Most of you are not conditioned to handle more than 3 things a month, 3 things over a 12-week period anyway, because you've got lots of other stuff going on in and around your life. And trying to manage all of those things and then trying to manage your growth plans, it becomes overwhelming, right? So when we think about those plans, and then there is the plans on a day-to-day basis. So we use a 5-pillar structure: health, relationships, personal development, career, and elements of fun. So what lads do in our community is every single week, they tell us exactly what they're going to do per pillar. So per pillar, we know exactly where their time and energy is going. More importantly, they know where their time and energy is going, right? And because they know where their time and energy is going, they're in control. They're in control of their time. They're in control of their emotions. In charge of like what their outcome's going to be. All right, make sense? So if you want a bit of an action plan from here, simply leave this. Spend the rest of the week kind of going, right, in June, what are my plans going to be? What are my top 3 things that I'm going to plan to do in June that are going to move me forwards? And if you're willing, stick them in the comments down below here. All right, guys, catch up with you soon.